Well, as you can see, I'm sitting here along a big river in Montana, and it is the middle of November. And every year we hear about some bad things that happen in hunting season when people are on rivers in boats. And we saw some stuff that, even on this trip, we've seen some things that are like, oh boy, that could be a little dicey. So we just thought we'd give a few points. Your probably your fish and game agency or your wildlife agency probably has the basics of boat safety. I know in Montana, if you go to the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks website, there's an entire, I think it's 40 some page book on boating. Because we have just a lot of people boating and you end up with bad deals. But you add in the weight and other stuff you're usually carrying, camps and animals and stuff, you add more weight in hunting season. You add the cold air temperatures and the ridiculously cold water temperatures, and your margin for error gets really, really small. And it goes without saying, the first thing is everybody needs a personal flotation device, and they need to use it, and it needs to be one that fits them. Okay, don't grab your 4-year-old's PFD and think that suffices. The other thing, always have some sort of throw, they call it a throw device, like I'm sitting on one right here, right? So if somebody does go overboard and they don't have their PFD on, you can throw that to them and have it handy. Don't have it locked away down in one of the compartments of the boat. You know, there's a lot of other things that, besides those real basic items, always have a plan and a strategy. So if you're going to be out by yourself and you don't show up, someone knows what your plan was, where you were going. If you can, travel in partners. Very often, if one person goes over or you have some sort of event, the other person is not going to have the same outcome and can be that person that helps you. I always have what we call a bleep kit. Like if something goes wrong, this is the kit. You see me, I use them in Alaska. I have this big orange bag. And I'm even more concerned up there because it's the ocean. But in there are all the basic things I need. Make sure that you have all the, I guess I'll call it, the overnight stuff. You know, something to stay warm, something to build a fire if you need to. And when it comes to your boat, whether it's a motored powered craft or a floating craft like a canoe or a kayak, there's a lot of things you need to be careful of. Loads are a huge thing. Never load your boat beyond its recommended capacity. And I don't care if that's a kayak or that's a canoe or a motorboat. That is when most problems happen. If you have a kayak or you have a canoe, they make outriggers, okay? They don't cost that much. But a fully loaded canoe going down in this current is not that safe. Yeah, a lot of people do it and they make it home. But do you really want to take that chance? For the price of some outriggers, it will save you so much headache, so much, it'll minimize your risk by a big, big amount. Now, if you're in a motorized craft, make sure your boat is properly powered. And by that I mean, you don't come up here with a fully loaded 17-foot boat with a 20-horse motor. You're way underpowered. If you can, try to be at the maximum recommended horsepower for that boat. And know that if it's a prop boat, your 90 prop is going to be about a 65 horsepower jet. You're going to lose a lot of efficiency. Make sure you have reserve and spare fuel. Make sure you have at least one anchor. Because if you're floating down and something goes wrong, at least you can drop anchor and stay there to get it fixed. Or you can sometimes use your motor. So the current's coming this way and you use your motor and it acts as a rudder to move you. And you can pull the anchor and you can get yourself to shore that way by pulling anchor, throwing it, using your rudder, pulling anchor, and doing it that way. There's a lot of reasons why they say always have an anchor. It saved a lot of headache for people. Now, if you have a bigger boat, make sure you have bilge pumps and make sure they're working. And even if you have a smaller boat, you can get one of these manual bilge pumps for not very much money. Make sure you have navigation lights. Make sure they work. And don't use those navigation lights unless you absolutely have to. And here's what I mean by that. Don't run rivers in the dark. Okay? Most of the problems that happen with motorized craft on rivers is in the dark. It's just not a risk worth taking. So those are the things that go through our head as we're doing this. I'm sure the crew thinks I'm like a nervous Nelly because I'm just frantic about every little thing. People close to me, some of my ancestors have died in boat accidents in hunting season, waterfowl hunting. Here we're big game hunting, but whether you're waterfowl hunting, big game hunting, it doesn't matter. Even if you're fishing in cold weather, your margin for error is just a whole lot less. Give yourself time, bring more than you probably think you need, and just be careful and be safe, and you're going to have a ton of fun. And you're going to access a lot of places that the other people don't. Good luck out there.